What a crazy week of football. I know we say it every week, but honestly, this was probably the most crazy, wild, words can't even describe this football weekend, this sports weekend. There is so much to unpack. It's been a while since we recorded. We missed last Pick'ems episode. Should be a fun time. This is K&A Football. All right, Austin. So, as I said, crazy weekend. There was insane amount of stuff from the Thursday night game that was a decent game to Saturday, which was some insane games we'll get to, obviously, to the World Cup final on Sunday. That was great.
Go.
To to the Sunday 1:00 games, great, and then the 4:00 games, crazy. It was the most. I can say the craziest football week I've ever watched.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like you said, the Thursday night game was entertaining. It wasn't crazy. You're like, okay, we got football going on. And then Saturday came, and it came swinging.
It was amazing.
I can't wait to talk about that. But first, as this is a football podcast, we want to give the majority of our attention, as Debbie so kindly reminds me almost every week, want to give the majority of our attention to the NFL. I will briefly.
This will be, I will actually.
Why don't you give it the end? Stick around.
That's true. Make them stick around.
Stick around for it.
Stick around to the end of the podcast to listen to Austin's little recap of the World Cup final. I will say, I'm not even a soccer fan at all. And I watched the end of the game, and it was actually it was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But as always, we have Debbie behind the camera answering your questions. So if you have a question or something and you want to put it out in the live chat, feel free. Debbie will try his best to see the question and portray it to us.
Yeah, Debbie is attempting his best to eat dinner. And so what we want from you guys is to just absolutely flood the chat with so many comments that Debbie is never able to actually eat his dinner. That's what we want.
Oh yeah,
We
have a new kind of setup. Debbie, it's the same thing pretty much.
Yeah,
but
you guys see the same thing.
Yeah, but Debbie's got a nice, huge, massive Mac over here, literally the size of our screen. But it's a lot cleaner in this room. It feels like a whole new K&A football.
It does. It does feel really new. I can't say that I particularly like it. Obviously, it feels nice having everything clean. We got some cable management going on, which is definitely an upgrade. Unfortunately, that kind of means that the general vibe of the dirtiness of the room has left, which makes me a little uncomfortable. It makes me feel almost like you walk into a job interview, right? It's a new place. The place is clean and shiny. You have to talk to this new guy you're interviewing for a job, and you're like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm not very comfortable. It's not like mine. That's what this kind of feels like.
Yeah. And one more thing now before we jump into the recap. Thank you so much to everybody who voted on the weekend poll little thing that I did. We didn't have a Pick'em episode this Friday or last Saturday, I guess. So I spent a crazy amount of time, more time than I would have liked to have spent, making these if you didn't see, it was a bunch of these polls that we put out for each game with awesome, nice picks, and you could vote. And I said, even if you don't know football, it would just be greatly appreciated to just go vote. No one's gonna care. We don't judge no one. We're just happy you voted. And a lot of people went out and voted. I very much appreciate it. And tonight, when I get back to my house, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna look, and I'm maybe gonna post on the Instagram a couple of the people who did the best.
Yeah, maybe we'll do top 3. We'll finish the top 3.
Right. And if you want me to suffer and do that every single week, let us know, and maybe we'll do that every week. I like all
enjoy the participation.
Yeah, I enjoy the participation. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it. And it's a good day, But yeah, let's get into the recap.
The K&A Week Recap.
All right. So the first game was the Thursday night game, the Seahawks and the 49ers. It started off as kind of just a normal football week. I mean, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners won 21-13. Brock Purdy continues to be Mr. Relevant.
Yeah, Mr. Relevant, yeah.
I mean, I know Debbie posted something on his Instagram, like a whole thing about Brock Purdy going to, like a thing about like him going and being like a backup at Iowa State, ending up being a starter there, being the last pick in the draft, all this stuff. And it's just like, it's insane how great his story, I guess, is.
Yeah. My worry for Brock Purdy is that he's a product of the Shanahan system. I really don't want that to be the case. I have this deep, dark feeling that is the case, and that it's one of those things where even Shanahan knows it, where it's like Brock Purdy is good because of the system they have in place in San Francisco, because of the weapons they have, and all Brock Purdy needs to do is not turn the ball over. I think that he's playing better than Jimmy Garoppolo
I agree.
has.
Yeah.
We haven't obviously seen Trey Lance play at all. I'd like to see Brock Purdy maintain being the starting quarterback for the 49ers into next year. I think that'd be awesome. But I have this deep thinking feeling that if Brock Purdy were to not be the starter in San Francisco, and they obviously signed Jimmy G to a couple-year deal being a backup, a couple-year extension. So if they were to not roll with Purdy next year and he goes somewhere else, I'm afraid that he might not look as good. But regardless, the San Francisco 49ers won this one, 21-13, as you said. Game started pretty regularly, to be completely honest. San Francisco started out with an early lead. Seahawks kind of clawed back a little bit. 49ers scored one last touchdown to slam the door shut, and that was it. Normally, I feel like we might give a more in-depth analysis, but knowing what's next, it's hard to get excited about this game.
It is. I mean, it wasn't like a bad game. I mean, there were some bad games this week that we'll obviously have to get to.
There were
But this was still, Niners offense looks so fun. I think Geno Smith, lately, he's really he's been on a real decline lately, kind of showing that it was kind of just like a little bit of a, not a fluke, but he is just a backup or maybe a very high, very, very high end backup or low end starter. He's not your franchise guy. He had a really close game with the Rams, who haven't been good all season. He lost last week to the Panthers, who aren't a good team. And then, granted, the Niners are great, but didn't play great against the Niners. So, but right now, the thing you said about Brock Purdy, potentially how he might be just from the Shanahan system, and if he leaves, might not produce the same. I think right now, he's just kind of got to live in the moment. He has a chance to lead this team to a Super Bowl.
He does.
The NFC is not crazy talented. There is an injury now in Philly. Completely could shake up the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a legit shot to go maybe win his team a Super Bowl. Live in the moment now. Worry about when time gets there. I'm excited for the playoffs are close.
Yeah.
It's getting really exciting.
It is getting very exciting.
I was looking today, right now, the potential playoff matchups, and it's man, that would be a great game. That would be a great game. That I know me and you, we got together, me, you, Sue Ellen, and a couple others got together over on Saturday to watch the Bills and the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
We're oh, that's gonna be a great game. Let's get together and watch it. And literally, looking at the schedule, it's oh, I could get together with my friends for this game, because they're all such good games.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the playoffs, but that's not to wish away the rest of the season.
Oh, for sure.
Now, this next game is one for the ages.
For sure.
If you were to look at the score of this game, and maybe even just look at the statistics for this game, you don't look at anything else. You look at just the statistics, player by player, team by team. You'd say, wow, what an offensive showcase. 39-36. That's a lot of points that were scored. Man, this must have been a really entertaining game to watch. And you would be correct, but for the wrong reasons. The Colts. I don't understand what happened. I was getting really nervous because I've been a little high on the Vikings recently, Like a lot of people are saying, they're potential frauds. They come out of all these close games, but they don't really deserve it. How they're winning, no one really knows. But like they're a first round exit in the playoffs. And I'm like, I don't think so. Is their defense good? Not really. Is their offense good? Yeah, very good. And I'd like to see them make it second, third round of the playoffs, but that's about it. Colts came out and were like, yeah, Vikings are frauds. And
and Jeff Saturday on Saturday.
And Jeff Saturday on Saturday is elite.
Yeah.
Jump out to a 33-0 lead at halftime. It's like I left to go referee a soccer game.
I didn't turn the game off, but I went downstairs to play Madden with my brother. I mean, I've never seen a worse start to a game. It doesn't matter if it's like the Chiefs and the 2016 Browns. Like, the game wouldn't be that big of a blowout to start the game. I mean, things started bad for the Vikings. Colts went down, kicked a field goal, got a pick six or something the next drive, or a pick and then a touchdown. I mean, and things spiraled out of control. I mean, they were in a big hole early, so they tried to overcome that by going for it on 4th and 1 from their own 20. Didn't get it. Perfect field position, another touchdown. Now they're in an even bigger hole. They go, 4th down again, fake punt, don't get it, touchdown. Even bigger hole. I mean, things were just getting out of hand so quick, and they were trying to get out of the hole, but it was just making the hole even bigger. Like, it was insane. Like, I've never seen a worse half of football. And like you said, I stopped watching. I mean, I was upset. I had Kirk Cousins in my fantasy playoffs. I still lost, but he had me negative points at halftime. And I was like, thanks, man. In the most important week of the season, you act like you don't care about my fantasy team, Because he definitely does.
Cares about my fantasy team.
He definitely does.
Yeah, so 33-0 at halftime, and you're like, man, this game is over. It doesn't matter. The Colts will score some points in the second half. There's nothing the Vikings can do to overcome this. And then Coach Zimmer apparently has the greatest halftime.
It's not Zimmer. Zimmer got fired.
They fired him.
I don't know who they're talking
about.
I don't know.
You're right.
I don't know who their new guy is.
His name is just infamous in my mind. Synonymous with Vikings.
Because he was their coach for a long time.
He was. But whoever the Vikings coach is, it's irrelevant. It's going to be relevant after this week, though.
We keep going.
Apparently has the greatest halftime speech of all time. Because the Vikings then come out and score 39 points in a half and hold the Colts to only 3 points in the second half.
Their coach is Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell.
Good job, Debbie. Kevin O'Connell. Yeah, that is right.
Yeah. Debbie found that, but Debbie's mic ceased to work. So we have to say that.
Yeah, so if you do ask a question, Debbie will ask us. It might not be heard very well.
I'm trying
We'll repeat.
This mic is just bad.
Yeah, we'll repeat the question.
Yeah.
But Debbie might just have to scream it so it picks up on these mics.
Yeah.
They can kind of hear me, but
yeah. We can all hear Debbie's laugh when he laughs from back there. So
he laughs so loud.
Okay. Yeah, there it is.
Probably heard that one.
Yeah. But anyway, so Vikings greatest comeback in the regular season.
No.
Ever.
No, greatest comeback in NFL history.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, this is definitely bigger than anything else. Yeah, biggest comeback in NFL history, 33-point deficit. Ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. And Matt Ryan solidifies his legacy as being on the losing end of all the greatest comebacks ever.
The jokes write themselves. I mean, biggest choke. What's the word? Biggest comeback. Yeah, biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Obviously, infamously known as 28-3 game against Tom Brady. And now this. I mean, the Vikings offense was just unstoppable in that second half. I mean, they were just moving up and down the field, scoring. And it wasn't just Jefferson. KJ Osborne.
Yeah. Who is that?
Exactly. He
gotta find a way.
He went nuts in this game. He was literally Justin Jefferson. They get Justin Jefferson and they put on a KJ Osborne jersey so that he'd be guarded by their third corner instead of Stephon Gilmore. And it worked very well because he went crazy. Don't get me wrong, Justin Jefferson also went crazy because it's still Justin Jefferson. I mean, and it's not like they had a miracle play at the end of the game to tie the game to send it to overtime. No, they tied it up with 2 minutes left. They had time as well.
Yeah. Matt Ryan didn't throw a pick this game, which was incredible.
Yeah, that they gave up that lead without even
Matt
turnovers
Ryan
stuff.
Throwing out picks. And Kirk Cousins did well for your fantasy team, even though it didn't matter in the end.
Hey, congrats to you. There's like a 100% chance that you are not paying for a dinner. Because no way Jeff Saturday is getting a coaching job.
Not after that one.
No shot. He has the biggest choke now in Super Bowl history, or not in NFL history, and the biggest fourth quarter point differential in NFL in that Cowboys game a couple weeks ago.
Can't finish games.
You kind of need to if you're a coach.
Yeah.
This game was one of the games that we said was not as entertaining. It was Ravens, Browns, Saturday at 4. You're coming off a crazy high of the greatest comeback in history.
Yeah.
And then you see this game.
Yeah, I'm 100% correct. The first quarter of this game was unviewable. If you were trying to watch on national television, you couldn't watch it. You had to go to a local station because obviously the Colts-Vikings game ran over into overtime, and so that caused you to not be able to view this game for the literal first quarter of it, which is fine.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything, and by you didn't miss anything, I mean you missed nothing. Like, no one scored.
Austin is not salty at all.
Look, I'm not salty at all. We won.
They got the win. I mean, that's all that matters.
13-3. Hey, we won. Look, we missed a couple field goals. This game should have been a little further apart than it was. Should have been.
They missed a couple field goals. I mean,
it was
a very sloppy game. I mean,
yeah, the snow definitely had an effect on it. It was snowing up in Cleveland on the lake, so obviously that's gonna incorporate some sloppy football. Deshaun Watson was slinging the ball pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. He looked real comfortable out there. Nick Chubb got 100 yards rushing against this Ravens defense, which is his first time doing so against the Ravens.
Wow.
So, technically he had 99 yards rushing, but it's basically
not 100,
there, guys.
Not 100.
He had 100, and then whoever keeps the stats was like, yeah, except one of those didn't count, probably. He has 99. He literally had 100, and it brought it down to 99, so we don't know what that's about. But round one, that's what matters in the end. Again, pretty boring game.
I think the Ravens are really missing Lamar Jackson. I mean, last season they missed him, obviously, but Huntley played at an elite level still last season. Not Lamar Jackson level, but he played very similar to Lamar Jackson. This season, you can tell there's a big drop-off between one of the better players in the NFL to Tyler Huntley. So,
yeah.
Well, I think Lamar's earning himself a lot of money by the Ravens.
Well, he's earning himself a lot of money by showing why they need him, but he's also losing himself a lot of money by getting hurt all the time. So it's going to be an interesting balance to see where that lands at the end of the season. Will the Ravens offer him an extension? Probably. Is it going to be the amount of money Lamar wants?
Do you think he stays in Baltimore? I don't think he does.
Personally, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think, unless the Ravens come out and offer him the money that he wants guaranteed, because that's his sticking point, is he wants the Deshaun Watson contract where it's $250 million and 200 of those are guaranteed money. He wants that kind of contract. I don't think he's going to get that out of Baltimore. Someone will give it to him, though, and he'll go to the highest bidder.
Hey, Carolina gladly will give that to him. Come on. But yeah. But then you go... Oh, sorry. What?
Before we move on.
Yes, Debbie.
There's a statement in the chat.
A statement.
I'm gonna take it as a question.
All right.
Boston Abdul says, Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl. What is your take? Do you think it's possible?
All right.
Boston Abdul. Could they hear that for sure? Boston Abdul.
Yeah, they can.
Okay, yeah. He said Cowboys win the Super Bowl. I completely disagree with that. I mean, we'll get to that game later, but they lost to a pretty good Jaguars team. They're kind of hitting their stride right now. But the Cowboys always find a way to choke in the playoffs. I don't care how good they are. They always will find a way to choke in the playoffs. Come playoff time, it doesn't matter who they're playing. I don't even see them making the NFC Championship.
Yeah, no, especially after their game this week. Won't spoil it because we'll get to that very soon. But no, I don't think the Cowboys make the Super Bowl. I don't think they come close to touching the Super Bowl. And I don't think they will for a couple years here. Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah, I also
hate to say it because I do like a lot of their players, but don't see it.
Yeah, I personally, I don't have anything against the Cowboys, like 99% of America. But yeah, I don't see it.
For quote, America's team, a lot of people really hate them.
For sure. So now you go from the crazy 1 o'clock Saturday game to the Browns game, and it's like, okay. Then you get ready for the crazy, crazy snow game that's been amped up that had no snow, you know. But it was a great game.
Man, it's gonna be a snow game in Buffalo in December. Dude, it snowed 3 feet in Buffalo. Where's the snow?
It's in the stands.
Oh, it's all in the stands because they just shoveled it off the field for some reason.
And they don't care about the stands. So the fans obviously couldn't sit down because there was just snow just piled everywhere. So what did they do with that snow? They were like, yo, let's troll these Dolphins. You know, they like the sun. The snow is not the sun. So they got the snow, which was like ice balls is what they were calling it.
Yeah.
And just pelting the field, like hitting Dolphins players, hitting cameramen.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny to watch. Like, there was plays, it was like a 4th down or 3rd down in the end zone. They threw it, was incomplete, and all of a sudden you just see snowballs just boom, 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 boom.
It was awesome.
Everywhere. It was the coolest thing.
The memes after that were so funny.
But then it literally got to the point. Austin and I were so upset because the petty Dolphins, this makes me so mad. Mike McDaniel.
And I liked the Dolphins before this.
I love Mike McDaniel. I think he's a great coach. He goes up, and you can see him chatting with the refs, and you're like, And then right after that, the refs go on. They pause the game, and they're like, fans, please stop throwing snowballs at the Dolphins sideline, at the Dolphins players. If a Dolphins player is hit, it will be a 15-yard penalty on Buffalo. Like, bro,
what?
let the fans do what they want to do, you know?
As a Dolphins fan,
Thank you. That is exactly what Austin and I said. If you're a Dolphins fan at that game, why are you not throwing snowballs at your team like crazy? You can control some of the outcome of the game. What are the Dolphins fans doing?
Yeah.
But then on the actual football side of it, that's ridiculous that they're really making the fans not do that. I mean, when these two teams played early in the season, Miami had the Bills sideline like adjusted a certain way that it was literally like 20 degrees hotter on the Bills sideline that all their players were like completely dehydrated and getting heat stroke.
Yeah.
So how come they can have the heat crazy to their advantage, but the Bills can't use snowballs?
Yeah, why on earth is the Dolphins sideline? Like, you can look it up. It's a legitimate fact that the Dolphins built their stadium so that if they play a 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock game while the sun is still up, the sun will be facing the visitor's sideline, making it substantially hotter because then the home sideline is in the shade. So when these two teams played, and when a lot of other teams play in Miami, specifically in the game that they met earlier this year, the Dolphins sideline was 90 degrees. It's hot in Miami, okay? The Bills sideline was 110. If the Dolphins players can't handle some snowballs being thrown at them when they're wearing pads and they have helmets,
That's ridiculous.
come on.
Like, I like the Dolphins. I think this team's fun. I love Tua. Tua's a guy.
Tua's a guy.
Tua's a guy.
It's a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
They're fast.
Yeah.
They're creative, and Mike McDaniels is a fun coach.
But stuff
Not
like
after
this makes it like, bro, you don't gotta be that petty. Like, it's a stinking snowball. You know?
Yeah.
I got in the car the other day, and Preston pelted me in the eye with the snowball. Suck it up. Like, ridiculous. But the game
It
itself,
still messes with it messes with their concentration.
it does. But
But so does heat stroke.
heat stroke is a lot more of a
Heat
deal.
stroke is worse.
Yeah.
Put on your helmet.
But toward the actual game, it was
Cry me an icy little river.
It was a very good game. I mean, I think the storyline going into this was the Dolphins having to go play in a cold game, which they are obviously the Florida team, not going to play good in the cold. But I think they kind of put those allegations to bed. They played very good in the snow, and kind of they're going to have to play in a weather like this at some point this season, whether it be some point in the playoffs, either in Cincinnati or in Kansas City or in Buffalo again. So they proved that they can play good in the snow, but
Yeah. Can they play well in the snow when the team doesn't shovel the field, though? That'll remain to be seen. But this was a fun game. Buffalo, as you can see, the final score was 29-32. Buffalo kicked a last-minute field goal to win the game in the snow. It was pretty awesome because right before that field goal, all of the Buffalo linemen got down on their hands and knees, and they were scraping the snow away from where their kicker was going to kick. So that he couldn't slip, and so that he would be able to kick the ball well, and it worked.
Again, Miami, not very smart. If I'm a Miami player, I'm trying to shovel a bunch of snow back. I don't know what's going on in their heads, but I'm Florida boys. I don't know.
Florida men, not quite it.
Yeah. But now We go into the Sunday games. Yes, that was just Saturday. What? This game was the Eagles and the Bears. Eagles won 25-20. Justin Fields had the greatest play that didn't count in NFL history. Yeah, the Bears kept it a very good game against a very good Eagles team.
Yeah. As I was watching not the Browns game. What game was I watching today on Sunday? I was watching the Steelers-Panthers game, actually. As I was watching the Steelers-Panthers game, because this game wouldn't show up for me, I kept looking at the box score there.
You know how that would help? Red Zone.
Yeah, Red Zone would be really helpful. Maybe you should invite me over a Sunday.
You know, I thought kind of like I did, you know? It's kind of
Except that, like, you didn't. You didn't do that, did you? Anyways, so I kept looking at the box score there, and it was like, oh, man, the Bears are keeping this close. Like, the Bears were, if I remember correctly, ahead. No, not that one. It was a close game, like, throughout this entire game, and I was like, I was waiting for the point at which the Eagles would jump ahead. Like, okay, yeah, it's close now, but we're like, 2 60-yard A.J. Brown throws away from this game being completely out of the bag.
It seems like that happens every single week. Like,
It does.
A.J. Brown just catches like a 70-yard touchdown. Like,
Don't you think that they're trying to rest up Jalen Hurts though a little bit too? Like, not play as hard, or maybe just he himself.
well, that's
Not playing as
that's
hard.
that's the main storyline that came out of this game. They played really good, but Jalen Hurts apparently got injured. Nobody knew this until like Monday when Jalen Hurts got injured in this game. They say he sprained his shoulder,
Yeah.
and they're saying his status for this week against Dallas, big game, is in doubt. And they're saying his status for the rest of the regular season is in doubt.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're the number 1 seed right now, and they're a couple games ahead of Dallas, who would be looking to, 1, take the division from them, and 2, look for that 1 seed, even though they do still have to beat out the Niners for it. But the Eagles have clinched a playoff spot. So they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So now it's that fine balance of, okay, we don't want to hurt our starters because we want to be able to perform well in the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run. But at the same time, we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we have to play more games than we have to in the playoffs. If you were to win, do they have to win like what, 1, 2 more games and then have a couple teams lose? They lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC. And that gives them a first round bye. So that's a bye week there. So, and they have 3 games left to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hurts sits against the Cowboys. That game, it's big because if they win, they pretty much lock up the 1 seed. If they lose, not that big of a deal. They have 2 games after that, and they really only need to win 1, maybe 2 to really lock up that spot.
Yeah. I mean, now Hurts is injured. So it will be interesting to see if he plays this week, if he plays the rest of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have one of the more quarterback-friendly teams in the league. They got great receivers, an insane defense, a great running game, and a great O-line. And who's their backup? Oh, Gardner Minshew. That's a pretty good quarterback.
Pretty good guy to have as a backup.
hey, when he was in Jacksonville with a horrible team, he put up numbers. I mean, he was a good, fun quarterback to watch. He's a drop-off from Jalen Hurts, obviously. But he's sustainable. I think they'll be perfectly fine.
I think so too.
It's going to be interesting to see because you know that there's a lot of people criticizing saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't deserve all this MVP talk because of the great team around him. Well, if Minshew goes and performs just like Hurts is, that talk's just going to continue to rise and be like, yeah, Hurts isn't great. Like, he just is carried by his team. But if Minshew struggles, they're going to be like, oh, wow, Hurts is legit. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Regardless, I do kind of hope Minshew does well.
Oh, for sure.
I do like him a lot. I hope that he still has the mustache.
Oh, if he shaved that thing, man.
Man, the mustache was 100% of his personality. But jumping to the Bears side, Justin Fields had another fantastic performance. Like, my goodness, Justin Fields is just the greatest. He completed 14 passes on 21 attempts, 152 yards, mediocre, 2 touchdowns, and 95 yards rushing. He was the lead rusher for the Bears. Like, this guy is rushing for 100 yards as a quarterback a game. Like, if he doesn't get close to that 100-yard mark, it's kind of suspicious. It's like, whoa, what happened with that game plan? Did the defense put a spy on him the whole game? Because, I mean, this man, he's running for everything.
I mean, me and you were talking like an hour ago off the air, saying back a couple years ago when Justin Fields was coming out of college, the Panthers had the chance to draft him. They didn't. And I said, I legit yelled at my TV and was like crying that night. Like, I wanted him so bad. And looking back, oh, it sucks that we didn't draft him. But we got a good corner, but, you know, whatever.
All right. So this was Lions. Why are my notes all messed up? Lions at Jets. There we go. This was a pretty good game. Not gonna lie. Zach Wilson was back for this game
Due to 2 injuries.
due to 2 injuries. Zach Wilson is back, and the Lions are looking to make a push for the playoffs.
Looking.
Man, I was really getting into it there.
We have another question in the chat.
I was really getting
I'm
into
calling
it.
this
I'm
one.
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We like the questions.
Yeah.
Bring them.
All right. Daniel the Camel.
What was wrong? Daniel Campbell, host. He was a host. Or he was
He's a guest.
Guest.
Yeah, guest.
There's a guest on here.
Daniel
He's
asks,
famous.
could you see the Eagles going out in the first or second round?
Okay, so first round would be a wild card round, right? So that would mean that the Eagles have to really fall off to not be the 1 seed, or to not. First round, I don't think so.
I mean, any given Sunday, obviously you can lose to anyone. But assuming they get a bye, obviously they can't lose in the first round. But if they don't get a bye, they'll probably end with the 2 seed. We'll say 2 or the 3. And say they end with the 2 seed, they'll play the lowest wildcard seed, which right now is going to look like either Detroit, maybe Seattle, maybe the Giants or Washington. I think if they're playing Detroit, there's a good chance they lose that game. Detroit's rolling right now, which we're about to talk about. Perfectly timed question. But I think if it's any of those other teams, I think they easily win. I think they still could easily beat the Lions, but I think the Lions could present a challenge. But if it gets to the second round, depending on who they play, I absolutely think that they could lose. I mean, I still think that they're the top 1 or 2 team in the NFC.
Yeah.
But you kind of see it the last couple seasons. Sometimes having the bye in the first round doesn't help because everyone else is playing and they're like they're
still in.
Yeah, they're still in
momentum,
the football mode. Like they're like resting, they're like taking that bye, and then they're like caught off guard because these teams are ready to roll. They're rolling, But you're coming off a bye, you're just like chilling back, Like sometimes it hurts you in that way. Yeah. I still think that they're a top team in the NFC, but I mean, it's gonna be so fun when the playoffs go.
Yeah. So to answer your question from my perspective, first round, no. Second round, now we're talking. I do think that they'll make it to the NFC Championship game. I really do.
I agree.
I do hope that it is Niners, Eagles in that NFC Championship game.
I love that.
That would make for a great NFC Championship game. And to be honest, then looking into the AFC, that would be a fantastic Super Bowl to whoever comes out of that.
A Final Four of either the Bengals, Bills, Chiefs in the AFC somewhere for the AFC Championship, and then Niners, Eagles. Hey.
Be greatest Super Bowl of all time. But like you said, perfectly timed question as we're just about to talk about the Lions. Like you were saying, the Lions are really making that push to get into that last wildcard spot, maybe even the second to last wildcard spot, but they're really pushing. And who would have thought they would have got here? They went 1-6 in their first 7 games.
And now they've won 6 of their last 7.
And now they won 6 of the last 7. They're rolling.
They are hitting their stride at the perfect time. I mean,
yeah, this is the time to peak.
For sure. Jets aren't a bad team. I mean, Zach Wilson's a bad quarterback, but I mean, they got a great defense, and scoring 20 points against the Jets defense, pretty good. I mean, the Lions don't really have much weakness right now. I mean, their defense was a big weakness at the start of the season, but their defense has played a lot better lately. Their offense is still electric.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a favorable schedule coming up. They got the Panthers this week. Yeah. They got Chicago still on their schedule.
Yeah, Chicago's their last game of the year.
I mean, hey, anything could happen. Again, any given week, anything could happen. But this team is on a roll right now. But then on the other side of it, for the Jets, they're also trying to get into that last playoff spot in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of teams are cramming to get in right now. It's a good time of the year.
It's fun. Like you were talking about Zach Wilson, and he actually didn't perform too terribly in this game. Now, his completion to attempts was a little skewed. He went 18 for 35, which is bad. But when you have good receivers, it can skew the stats, which is something that is, you should always look at those attempts to completions. Because if I were to tell you, Zach Wilson threw for 317 yards and a touchdown in this game, you'd be like, oh, wow, that sounds pretty good. But when I tell you he only completed 18 passes on 35 attempts, that sounds really bad.
I mean, there was a couple throws, but it was just like, bro. Come on.
I have a question. Do you think that Zach Wilson is better than Mike White?
Absolutely not.
So why did they put him back in?
Well, because Mike White was injured.
Oh, my bad.
Debbie was confused with why the Jets put in Zach
Wilson. But last time, remember we talked about, so last time Mike White got hit really hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then backup for him stepped in instead of Zach Wilson.
Right, so they're both injured.
Okay.
So now it forced Zach Wilson.
And they are really
you could tell they did not want Zach Wilson.
They are low.
The locker room doesn't want him. Sure, the coaches don't want him.
The coaching and management staff don't want him.
I mean, but he didn't do good, but he didn't put up Zach Wilson numbers.
Yeah.
Which Zach Wilson numbers are not good. But he's still not a good quarterback. He's not going to be a starter.
Yeah, he'll be a backup somewhere next year. Maybe in New York, but
really unfortunate timing too for a quarterback injury, as the Jets are trying to make that playoff push, and they have an early game this week against another team that's kind of hitting their stride right now, in the Jaguars. Which we'll have to pick at the end of this episode.
Yeah, exciting. All right, so next game, is the Panthers game. All right, Caden, the floor is yours.
Take it away. Yeah, I mean, it's 2022. You know, it's not 1960. Saying you're going to run the ball all week, saying our identity is running the ball, isn't going to work in 2022. You know, you see Patrick Mahomes, you see Joe Burrow, you see Josh Allen, you see Jalen Hurts, all these guys. Their team is going to run, but they're predominantly throwing the ball. That's how they're winning games. That's how you win in 2022. In the last 5 years, even, you win by throwing the ball. You don't run the ball 70 times a game. The only reason that happened last week was because the Seahawks have one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. Pittsburgh has a pretty good rush defense, and they completely owned our rush. We had 21 rushing yards as a team.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, he didn't play terrible. He held on to the ball way too long at times. He had guys open where he just hold on too long and then hit them late, or he hold on too long and take a sack. Things just were not going. We have an interim coach, got out coached by one of the better coaches in the league. I know I was hyping up Steve Wilkes last week. I'm not going to overreact and say he's awful, but maybe I was a little too high coming off of a huge Seattle win. You know, can't get excited about this team, I guess. I don't really know how to think. Literally, I give this team the benefit of that. The NFC South, pathetic division, you know? Everyone is below 500. But the Panthers had been striving. They'd beat the Seahawks, who were a good team. And I was like, everyone's dogging on this division. But I'm not going to take that. I mean, yeah, the division's struggling. But, I think the Panthers are a decent team. Clearly, that was just my bias. I have completely taken away all respect for this division. Every team in this division is a joke. None of them deserve to make the playoffs. But the fact is, every team in the division lost this week except for New Orleans because they played another team in the division. Literally, everyone in this division is 5-9 except for Tampa Bay is 6-8. And you know what's crazy? As bad as this division is, Panthers still hold their fate. If the Panthers win this week, the next week, and the next week, with two of those games being the Bucks and the Saints, who are, again, terrible. They're part of the NFC South, so that just makes them terrible. They make the playoffs. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Am I going to be rooting for it? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen, though? No. But I will be yelling at my TV on Christmas Eve, getting upset on Christmas Eve because we're realizing that we suck. But it's okay because we will get a quarterback. We will not have Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. We will have a new quarterback. Please be Lamar Jackson. Please. Yeah.
It's fun that you guys are in week 15 and you still don't know whether you're making a playoff push or tanking for the draft.
Yeah. No one in this division does, man. It's like anyone can
Any of
win.
Any of these teams could either make the playoffs
Or have a top five pick.
which is just hilarious.
It is so sad.
You know what I think? Here's what I think. I think that the Steelers should represent the NFC South in the playoffs. Since they have beat all of you guys, I think the Steelers should represent for the NFC South.
We've lost to every team in the AFC North. The AFC North is not even a great division. I think every team in the NFC South has lost to the AFC North. It is pathetic.
Yes, they have.
I mean, Panthers, congrats. Is that the word I'm trying to look for? You hold your own destiny, at least for another week. Please win and make me happy, and then maybe next week I'll be in a better mood.
They lost 24-16, by the way. Caden failed to mention that.
Whoops.
Whoopsie daisy.
You lost on Mitch Trubisky.
Whoopsies.
There's not much to say.
All right, this was another... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, this is
Before we continue again,
probably a perfectly
we have
timed
another question from Jeff. He asks, "Do it shiggle?" Does that ring any bells?
No.
All right, please continue.
It does.
Oh, it does. Oh no.
Oh, he said do it shiggle, apparently. And it does.
shiggle, Austin.
It does.
It does. Shiggle.
I don't know what that means, but
Oh, my bad.
I feel like it probably does.
Continuing to our
Okay.
I
regular
hope that I
program.
didn't. I hope that I didn't just like arise cause for me to be arrested or something. It's not like
Oh my gosh.
it's not like a QAnon like claim or something. All right. So this was
Another madness game.
a really weird game because if you were to look at the score and okay, how about this? You look before the game and you see that the Chiefs are playing the Texans and you're like, ho, I don't need to tune into that game. That one is wraps before the
That one
kickoff.
is whatever the Chiefs want to whatever they want the Texans to have.
Exactly. Whatever the Chiefs want to score to whatever the Chiefs want the Texans to score. That's what the final score
Yep.
will be and it'll probably be 400-0. And this was another one of those games where you tune in and you're like, why are the Texans winning? At halftime, the Texans were up 14-13. They went into half with the Texans being up. Do you know how wild that is for the Texans to be up at half against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, not only that, the Texans were missing their star players, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
They got, if you want to call them their star players, they were missing Dameon Pierce.
Who is a star player, by the way.
Okay, yeah. No
That
shade
one-
on Dameon Pierce. He
that one
is
is a
a
star
legit
player.
beast. If they have Dameon Pierce, they're winning this game. 100%.
Yeah.
But, so they were missing Dameon Pierce. They were missing Brandon Cooks. Star player.
Yeah.
And they were, like you said, winning at halftime. If you look at the Texans the last 2 weeks, you're like, man, they were in a really close game with the Cowboys. Cowboys are a good team. They were in a really close game with the Chiefs. Texans are good, you know?
Yeah.
Tough schedule.
Tough schedule, guys. Not that it matters, right? If they were to win those last 2 games, like, it doesn't matter.
They're locked for the first
They're
pick.
locked for the first pick. It doesn't matter how many games they win the rest
Sorry,
of the year.
Bryce Young.
They're locks for 1.
Please, you better stay in college, bro.
Yeah, don't commit to the draft, man. It's not worth it.
Mhm.
You're gonna end up in Houston. Bad city to end up in. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes did not throw an interception this game, which is very good for him, even though he probably already threw himself out of the MVP talks.
I mean, this game, he has the highest completion percentage.
Did you see the throw that he did?
Yeah, across the field? Yeah. I mean, he-
stopped it. No looker.
he completely, he broke the NFL record for highest completion percentage in a game. It was like
36 on 41 attempts.
incredible.
Ridiculous.
What worries me is the Chiefs' defense and weapons. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm not really worried because they still got Mahomes as their quarterback, and he's going to do everything in his power to win them the game. But Isaiah Pacheco fumbled. What's his name? J.D. McKissick
Yeah.
fumbled. Their defense let up 24 points to the Texans. What's going to happen when you
Yeah.
play the Bills in the playoffs? You better hope your defense is better than 24 points to the Texans, or else the Bills might put up 50 on you,
Yeah.
or the Bengals might put up 50 on you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not worried because it's Mahomes, and Mahomes is always going to find a way. But it's like, man, like,
The Chiefs defense needs a revamp next season. They cannot continue playing the way they have, where it's hopefully our defense will find a way and Patrick Mahomes will put us on his back
normally
and
it's just
carry us through.
lately it's just been Patrick Mahomes is good enough. We'll just outscore them. You know,
Yeah.
Who cares about defense when you have the best player in the NFL? I mean, their defense wasn't even great last season, and they had Tyrann Mathieu, and he's not there anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
all they really got on their defense right now is Frank Clark.
Yeah.
No, and I don't know. Their D line is
Doesn't
pretty
matter.
good.
That's okay. What confuses me about this game is that the Texans put up 24 points, but only had 129 yards in the air between both quarterbacks because they're playing a 2-quarterback system like it's college.
Makes no sense.
And they had less than 100 yards rushing. They had 94 yards rushing. How do you have under 300 yards in the NFL and you still manage to almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes threw for almost 400 yards? It doesn't make any sense, but Chiefs won. So it
Football.
matters in the end. The football, guys. It's a great game. Beautiful sport.
Mhm. Yeah. And this game had kind of a lot of hype going into it. Atlanta and New Orleans. Desmond Ritter's first game as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe Falcons fans are thinking that this guy can be the answer. Maybe he can lead them to the division in this pathetic, or lead them to the playoffs,
Land playoffs.
with this pathetic division. You know, he's just got to be mid to be able to do it. But turns out he is below mid. He threw for 97 yards?
Yep. He threw for 97 yards, 13 completions on 26 attempts.
Not good.
50% completion.
Against a not even that good Saints defense.
Nope.
They ran the ball 39 times. Looking at my notes there.
That's mildly impressive. That was off of memory, actually. Mildly impressed with you.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, the Falcons are obviously done for this season. I mean, the Saints aren't a good team. They're the worst team in the NFC South, and you lost to them. And the game looks a lot closer than it was. I mean, they kind of just got manhandled during this game. I don't think much of it. I don't think either of these teams win the division. I think it's either.
No.
I think the situation is going to be Tampa or Panthers. Either Panthers miraculously win their next 3 games and get in, or every team loses and by default Tampa's in the lead right now, so they get in. But
You know how awesome it would be if Tampa. So what's Tampa at right now? 6-8, and you guys are at 5-9. You know how awesome it would be if you guys won another one. Tampa lost another one, and then you guys just had the same record.
well,
And
we
it-
play Tampa again.
Oh, perfect.
That would be the greatest game ever.
Yeah, how awesome
that
that would
nobody's
be.
going to care about because whatever team gets in the playoffs is just going to get steamrolled in the first round.
It's gonna be
Actually,
awesome.
no. They'll probably play Dallas. Dallas chokes.
Dallas chokes in the first round.
Oh, it's going to be interesting now.
Man,
I don't know.
man, we're really getting into it. This could be Dallas's chance to not choke in the first round.
For sure.
They play like a basically college football team in the
Mhm.
playoffs.
But yeah, I mean, Desmond Ridder.
This was a boring game
Yeah.
in an otherwise awesome week of football.
All right.
Another question.
Another question. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
From Anthony. He asks.
Anthony.
Let's see. Okay. Yes. Where would you rank Dak
Oh.
as a QB?
That is
Go.
tough.
That's a good question.
Where would we
man.
rank Dak as a QB? I'd put him in my top 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say top 10. I could probably see myself going top 7,
Really?
maybe at 7, maybe 8.
Wow. I was going to say fringe 10. Like
Fringe 10.
10.
I could see myself putting him at 8. I don't quite know who I'd put ahead of him. Definitely not top 5.
No shot.
Definitely not top 5. And he's not getting particularly
I
close
mean, if
to
you
that.
look at the team around him, he's got a great O-line. He's got great running backs, great defense. He's throwing it to CeeDee Lamb. Crap. kind of contradicting myself. here.
Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz.
Schultz is a great tight end.
He was throwing to Cooper for so long, but Cooper's obviously not there anymore. But
Yeah, I mean, Dak's got a good system around him, and he's not performing particularly well. He's thrown 5 picks in 4 weeks.
I mean, call it a crazy hot take. I don't know. Maybe you'll agree with me. Right now, I would rank Trevor Lawrence ahead of Dak.
Ooh, that's a tough one for
Right
me
now,
to get
I mean,
behind.
He's rolling. He
is rolling.
He was a crazy hyped quarterback coming out of college.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to his game. He was a crazy hyped quarterback coming out of college.
Dak's game. I hope that that's the next one. That'd be perfect.
Great transitions. Crazy hyped quarterback coming out of college. He's proving why. He looks like a generational talent right now. Dak, I feel like we've reached Dak's peak.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's just fringe 10, 11, maybe 9
Yeah.
on a good day.
On a good day when he's not throwing picks. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Perfect.
Oh, I didn't even realize Dak played Jaguars.
Yeah. You didn't realize that?
I didn't. Yeah, that's crazy how I did
Perfect
that.
timing. Man. Either A. Here's what I'm thinking here. Either A, we're getting really lucky with these and everything just is flowing so clean today. Or B,
We're just so good now.
Debbie is back there masterminding everything.
I highly doubt that. Debbie probably doesn't know what team Trevor Lawrence is on.
Debbie sees the comments roll in and watches the slideshow and he's like, okay, this one's coming up next. So this is the comment that we're gonna read. This is the comment we're gonna read right here.
Yeah, let's give more work for Debbie back there.
Yeah, Debbie. More work for Debbie.
Oh, it doesn't even do anything. He just eats food.
Yeah,
But,
Debbie just eats food back there.
But yeah, this game was good. It was a great game. Dallas and the Jaguars. Dallas jumped out to a big lead early, and everyone's like, oh, well, same with Jaguars. But then Trevor Lawrence, he's been rolling lately. He's been on a tear. And they've staged a very good comeback. Great drive down the... It looked like the game was over. They were down by a couple points toward the end of the game. They're driving, trying to tie it up. And he's running. Trevor Lawrence is running. They're close to scoring. He fumbles. Dallas picks it up, and it's like, it's game over, you know. Jacksonville gets the ball back with a little bit of time left. Drive down the field. Score. Send it to overtime. A couple drives in overtime go on, and then Dallas has the ball. They throw it, tipped off of their receiver's hand right into one of the Jaguars' defenders. 50-yard pick six, walk-off.
See.
I like that, Anthony. No, but it was a great game. It was fun to watch. And the Jaguars, kind of like the Lions, are hitting their stride right now. Trevor Lawrence, I don't have his exact stats on my notes, but lately, the last 4 games, he's thrown 17 touchdowns, I think it said. No, not that many. That's so absurd. But he has some insane amount of...
Yeah. Well, he had 4 in this game, which is all of their touchdowns.
Against a good defense.
Yeah.
What were you trying to figure out?
I saw this thing. It's not like a stat that you can really look up. It's fine. But he's been balling his last couple of games, and he's looking like the person he was drafted to be. I mean, he's playing with not even great weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, think next
Who's
year
he have? Christian Kirk?
Yeah,
That's it?
Next year they're gonna have Calvin Ridley back.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot they
gonna
traded for him.
That's gonna be interesting.
Ooh.
He's already, and if he just continues to get better, I will be the first to say that I was wrong about Trevor Lawrence. I said multiple times this year that he's a bust. I was wrong. I'll say it.
You'll
I was
say
wrong.
it now?
I will say it now. I was wrong.
I'm not ready to say it yet.
I am. Trevor Lawrence is a beast, and he is better than Dak. I will say that. Jaguars are good, and what's crazy is they're not out of it for the division either. Tennessee's lost 4 in a row now. They're struggling. Jacksonville's rolling. If this keeps continuing, week 18, Jacksonville, Tennessee could decide
That division. That'd be entertaining.
That would be
I
very
would love
entertaining.
that.
Go Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They got a big game this Thursday night against the Jets team. I was gonna say surging. I don't know how you really.
What are they
describe this
doing?
team. Yeah, they're just sitting there.
They're the Jets. But here's a fun little story for you. You may have seen this, you may have not. But the Philadelphia Eagles. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw this.
The Philadelphia Eagles sent the Jaguars team a full Philadelphia dinner. They sent them cheesesteaks as a thank you for beating Dallas, which is just awesome. They're like, hey, you gave us some breathing room in this division. Send them all cheesesteaks. It was amazing. It's literally the greatest thing ever.
And Jacksonville's coach,
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson used to be Phillies coach. Got him a Super Bowl.
Took him to the Super Bowl.
Hey, bro.
Hey,
Love it. Love to see it.
He's an Eagle at heart. He knew what he needed to do.
He's like, if I don't win a game all year, I am beating this Dallas team.
Trevor, you will throw for 400 yards this game and 4 touchdowns.
He's looking like a superstar. I love it.
So far.
I didn't like Trevor Lawrence in college, but I kind of like him in the NFL. Oh my goodness. We need to skip this game. This was even more boring than the Browns game.
Yeah, this was the most pathetic game of football ever played. 2
Cardinals, Broncos.
Yeah, Cardinals, Broncos.
15-24. Broncos won.
Broncos won. Let's ride.
Finally.
Russell Wilson wasn't playing though.
That's why they won.
Probably why the ride took off. But yeah, this is just
Pathetic.
a terrible QB performance all around. Arizona played 2 quarterbacks in this game.
Trace McSorley.
They have a really weird thing with like having their backup quarterbacks be Mick something. So Colt McCoy and Trace McSorley, they combined for 20 completed passes on 36 attempts, only 173 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. That was Arizona's QB performance this week. That's really bad. On the other side, Brett Ripon, who the heck is he? Apparently, he is Russell Wilson's backup. Who knew? No one.
And who knew? He's better than Russell Wilson.
He's better than Russell Wilson. He went 21 on 26 attempts. That's a good statistic there. 197 yards, almost broke 200. 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Mediocre performance, but he got the job done. That's what you have to do.
I mean, hey, take your wins where you can get them. It's not like it's hurting the Broncos draft position because they don't even own their first round pick. So take your wins when you can get them.
Who owns the first round pick? Seattle owns your first round pick.
But yeah, it was a very boring game. But no, I was watching Red Zone, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't see much of this game because it was flashing from all the other crazy action that was going on.
Yeah.
So, I hope, I mean, what's sad is now we literally, you want to know? So there's Christmas games this year, multiple instead of just one like last season. The Christmas games. Okay. The NFL was like, oh, we're going to make these Christmas games so good. And they turned out to be literally the worst games they could have picked out. The first game is not bad. It's Miami versus Green Bay. Okay, that's all right. But then you got, oh, this is a doozy. You ready? Denver at Rams.
Oh, talk to me, NFL.
Oh, let's
a
go.
bad
I know what I'm doing Christmas Eve, not watching, or Christmas Day, not watching that game. And then the night game, Arizona, Tampa Bay. Oh, let's go.
Exhilaratingly bad games.
Dude,
I love
it's
that.
so bad. But we'll talk about that on this week's Pick'ems.
Yeah, we shall. We will talk about that.
Oh, we can literally spend 8 hours talking about this next game.
We could.
Patriots, Raiders. Patriots trying to get into the playoffs. Raiders, you can say trying to get into the playoffs. They're done.
There's so much to talk about.
There is so much to talk about. You will never in your life see another play as dumb, as crazy, as confused, just
as impactful. There's so many adjectives we can throw in here.
Literally, we're gonna spend the next 5 minutes just yelling adjectives. Like this play,
as beautiful.
It made no sense. I mean, it started off and the Patriots were killing them. No, the Raiders were killing them.
Yeah,
and it was
and
like
being the choke artists they are.
Yeah.
Stop killing them.
Yeah, the Patriots were like, whoa, let me win this game. And so they did. And so the Patriots, trying to get in the playoffs, they start playing good, get a lead. You know, and you want to know, I was furious during this game. The Raiders are bad. And you know what would help you not lose games?
Tell me.
If you had a good wide receiver, I don't know, maybe like a top 2 receiver in the league.
That would be really helpful.
Just so happens they have one of those guys. His name is Devontae Adams.
And remember him.
Yeah. Normally, when you do have a top 2 quarterback, you would want to throw it to him. That's just my opinion. I'm not a coach. But, like, that normally translates to winning. I don't know. Call me crazy. But they decided they don't want to win. I guess. So they were like, yo, we're going to throw to, what's his name? Mac Hollins. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Mac Hollins. Let's throw to him instead of Davante Adams, instead of Darren Waller, instead of Hunter Renfrow. No, instead of Davante Adams, you're throwing to Mac Hollins. He dropped everything. Like, this guy was a bum. And you wonder why you're losing games. Raiders, throw the ball to your superstar. It is not rocket science. Literally, it's... Like,
piece of advice. I don't care how many interceptions you throw. Just target Davante Adams on every single attempt.
I don't care if you can't see him because you're crying. Guess where he is and throw it. It is ridiculous how little you throw one of the top receivers in the league the ball. But back to the game. The Raiders are going at the end of the game because they had just given up a lead. Shocker. And so they needed to get that lead back. And they were like, yo, let's try to score by not throwing to Davante. And so they did that. They were moving down the field. Shocker. And they go and they threw it to the end zone. And Kendrick Bourne. No, I don't know. Some nobody that's not Davante Adams caught the ball in the corner of the end zone on a big play. Touchdown, tie game. And it's like, oh my goodness. They go to review.
Because they review every scoring play.
Yeah. Good job, NFL. His foot. So clearly out of bounds. Everyone knew it was incomplete. Like, the announcer said it. That bring in that Mike Pereira, who they bring in after every review. He said it. Like, the stadium knew it.
Yeah.
Like, the refs come out. Everyone's waiting for the call has been reversed. The ruling on the field stands. Okay. That made no sense. So now the game is tied with, I don't know.
Well, you want to know a really crazy thing about that play?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Where was this game played at, Caden? Do you know?
It was played in Vegas.
It was played in Vegas. Do you know what one of the Raiders' main colors are?
Black.
Oh, what color is the end zone painted in Vegas?
Black.
It's black. Do you know what color shoes the receiver was wearing when he caught that ball?
It was black.
No, he was wearing white shoes.
Oh,
he was wearing white shoes.
Literally even worse.
There was no black in between his white shoes and the white out of bounds line. That's such a blatantly missed call. They remembered the tuck rule and they were like,
that's what I was about to say, yeah.
We owe him here.
But yeah, so then the game's tied. You're like, okay, Patriots, you got screwed there. It's all right. Get it to overtime, win it in overtime. They won't throw it to Davante Adams anyway. You'll probably be fine. And so they're just running it. You know, maybe you break something free. There's like 3 seconds left. You're at your own 40. 99.999% of the time, take a knee, send it to overtime, you know, because of that one play like 50 years ago where they fumbled on something. So now everyone just needs it. No, Patriots decide that they want to run.
The offensive genius of Matt Patricia. Run the ball.
They want to run. Okay, maybe you break something. Worst that happens, you get tackled. You know? No, wrong. They hand it off, and he gets through the first level and the second level. He honestly looks like he's gone. I thought he was going to score.
On my fantasy team, Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah. He's going to take it.
He ran. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to score. I stand up, and I was like, oh my. He goes. The safety catches up. Oh, he's going to get tackled. No, he pitches it to Jacoby Myers. Why would you do that? The game is tied. You pitch it when you're losing and you need a miracle play. You know, it's too dumb to do that. Jacoby Myers catches it. He runs backwards, not forwards, runs backwards, winds up like a quarterback, and throws it 30 yards down the field backwards to Mac Jones. Not to like anyone else.
Player,
not
like
to anyone else. He throws it to Mac Jones. And Chandler Jones, standing right there, is like, there is no way that he just did that. So he jumps up, intercepts, quote unquote, the pitch,
kind of
pass. Yeah,
I don't know, catches a fumble out of the air.
Completely ends Mac Jones' life with a stiff arm, straight into the ground. I'm not gonna lie, I love that. Completely just stiff arms him to the ground, takes off, walk off, 50-yard, whatever you want to call it,
touchdown.
That was the single. Since when does Bill Belichick coach team not know fundamentals? What? Oh, sweet. Debbie's pulling it up. Here's the play. I'm sure you've seen it, but if you haven't, just feast your eyes on literally the dumbest play you will ever see. So there's 30. Oh, you can skip forward. Yeah, so not a good angle. But it will get there. It's literally his feet are so far out of bounds. It's just.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. That's a good one. Yeah, click it. Like, yeah, I look at that. Look, pause your zoom in, please, because that is so far out of bounds. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But whatever. But my question for Jacoby Myers on that pitch play: what was your intention? What do you think is gonna happen? Say Chandler Jones wasn't there, right? Say just Mac Jones is standing there. What's gonna happen? Mac Jones isn't gonna catch it. That's what's gonna happen. But say he does catch it. What's gonna happen then? Mac Jones is gonna run for 50 yards for a touchdown. I can tell you wholeheartedly that is not happening. That was the single dumbest play I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you needed to do that. You were tied.
Send it to overtime, like all the other games this week.
There's so many overtime games this week. It made no sense.
It was very stupid.
But in the Patriots, this was the easiest game left on their schedule. They are fighting for their playoff lives. They quite literally threw away their playoff hopes.
Yes.
They
did.
legitimate threw them away.
More
Jacoby Myers.
specifically, Jacoby Myers threw away all playoff hopes.
But yeah,
He's got money on another team.
Raiders, you shouldn't be happy with yourself. You're not throwing to Devontae Adams.
You should be disappointed.
This next game, Titans and Chargers. Justin Herbert showing why he's a GOAT. He struggled.
yeah.
I wouldn't say he struggled. The interception of all time happened in this game. Did you see it?
I did not see this
Herbert, towards the end of the first half, Herbert was thrown to the sideline. It was,
one. Oh, I did see this one.
Yes, it was incredible. So he throws it to the sideline. It was like pretty much kind of a throwaway, but it was just like, throw it deep and see what happens. But it was out of bounds. The Titans guy jumps. The ball is out of bounds. But the Titans guy jumps out of bounds, is in midair, gets the ball, and bats it in.
No, dude, he catches that.
He did?
He literally had full control. Like, no, because it was reminiscent of, if you remember, a number of years ago, probably 2015, 16, the Legion of Boom did the same thing. Richard Sherman is out of bounds.
Oh, in the playoff game.
In the playoff game, and he jumps out of bounds, and he pushes it back in for Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
And he catches it and runs it out, and what a fantastic interception. This one was so much better for the sole reason of the Tennessee defender caught the ball. He had 100% control of this ball as he's in the air, looks around, says, "Oh, I'm in the middle of the air, and if I land, I will land out of bounds. So you know what I'm going to do instead of catching this? I'm going to throw it back inbounds
My teammate.
to my teammate, who will then catch it, and it will be ruled an interception."
It's incredible.
Greatest interception that has ever happened. Probably ever will happen again. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, regardless, Titans went down. The Titans tied it up with a little bit of time left. Like, it's probably going to overtime. Like, the 9th time today. That game's going to overtime. Awesome Sunday. But then, Justin Herbert's like, whoa, I'm top 5. So he goes, and he executes a great 30-second drive, gets them in field goal range. They kick a game-winning field goal. Ball game. Yeah. Great. It was a good game.
It was a very good game.
Low scoring, but it was a fun game.
Yeah, Derrick Henry had 100% of the Titans' rushing yards. Like, I was looking at the stats, and it's literally like Derrick Henry has. I mean, I haven't written down how many yards it was, but it's like for this game they had like 128 yards or something, and then 120 of them were for Derrick Henry, and the other one was like, next guy down, he has 6 rushing yards. Next guy down, he's got like 3 rushing yards, and you're like, all right, Derrick Henry just is the offense at this point.
100%.
He had 104 rushing yards.
Yeah, 104 rushing yards. It's pretty good. The Chargers could squeak into the final playoff spot in the AFC. I'd love to see that.
It could happen. Definitely a possibility.
Great time of the year.
Fantastic.
Man.
All right, this was another one of those crazy comebacks. We're running real short on time, so we got to start blowing through these.
Debbie's just Lulu was like shaking the new computer screen back there.
So this is another really crazy comeback, as we've seen all week. Buccaneers, they're like, man, what'd be really great is if we kind of just locked up the NFC South and got to the playoffs. We're gonna get steamrolled first round, but at least we made it, guys. So they're like, what if we go up 17-3 at half?
17-0 at one point.
17-0 at one point, yeah. Going into halftime at 17-3, and you're like, all right, this game is
Over.
very out of hand. 17 points, pretty big. And this Bengals team did the exact thing that the Vikings team didn't do. The Vikings team, in their comeback, they got frantic when they got down. They completely abandoned everything, and they were like, it's like when you're playing Madden and you're like 13 years old, and all you do is call Hail Marys because you think that that's the strategy. That's what the Vikings did when they got down and they got desperate, and they started faking punts and everything. The Bengals had no fear the entire time. Didn't worry about it. Just methodically, they then stuck with exactly what they knew. 17 points in the third quarter, 14 points in the fourth quarter. Win the game 34-23. Didn't sweat it.
Literally back-to-back-to-back drives to the Bucks and then in turnovers in the second half. They gift wrapped this game to the Bengals. Like, it was bad. This Bucks team, there seems to be a trend with the NFC South. All teams in the NFC South are bad. And this Bengals team continues to stride, kind of like they were at this time last year.
Yeah.
The AFC, it's kind of scary. There's 3 really dominant teams in the AFC, and then there's a couple other teams that could definitely be in that mix.
Yeah. All right. New York at football team. New York Giants at football team. I mean, this game
is rigged. 100% rigged.
Definitely rigged.
Giants should not have won this game. Washington got down to the very end, down by 8, need a touchdown. They're at like what? 1 yard. They're literally at the 1 yard line. And there's like 30 seconds left. They need to score and get the 2 to send it to overtime. And Terry McLaurin goes up to the line. He points at the ref. He's like, hey, am I good? Because he has to get approved by the ref to make sure he's lined up on the line correctly. And the ref said, no, scoot up a little bit. So he scoots up, and then he said, am I good now? And the ref said, yeah, you're good. So he stays there. The ref said, I'm good. They snap it. They hand it off to Brian Robinson. Touchdown. Now all they need is a 2-pointer to tie the game. But then flag. Illegal procedure. Offense number 17. They called that on Terry McLaurin, who the ref just said he's fine. And the ref who threw the flag is the same ref who said he was fine. What?
I hope he gets fined.
No, he won't though.
So
because 100%, this made me mad. This is such a bad look for the NFL. The NFL wants the Giants in the playoffs because that will skyrocket the rankings ratings compared to if Washington is in the playoffs. They want the Giants in the playoffs. Everyone that's not a Giants fan does not want the Giants in the playoffs because this team is pathetic. They're not even fun to watch.
This Washington team is fun to watch.
Is fun to watch. And they should have won. Oh, and then they were going to be started. So they have to move back and they go for it again. It's 4th down and goal or whatever. They throw it to Curtis Samuel in the end zone. The guy who was guarding him literally bear hugged him. He had his arms locked. I just completely messed up my mic. He had his arms wrapped around him. No pass interference.
No PI.
Incomplete pass, game over. Dude, it was horrible. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm not even a Washington fan, and that made me mad.
Yeah. Sometimes calls don't go your way, but it sucks when it's pretty blatantly.
Sometimes calls don't go your way, but sometimes calls are rigged and staged. 100%.
All right, last game of the week at Green Bay. I don't know why it is that Baker Mayfield plays better when he doesn't know the playbook, and then he knows the playbook, and he sucks. He
just nonchalantly said that. I love that.
Like, dude, 12 completions on 21 attempts. That's not great. 111 yards. Again, not great. 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Great job, Baker. Slow clap for you. You had everyone believing that you were him.
Not us.
We were not fooled.
We were saying all week, this is the Baker cycle. He plays horrible. He gets hated on. He beats a trash team, Raiders. Everyone thinks he's great again. Loses. Everyone thinks he's trash.
Cycle repeats.
Beats a bad team. Yeah. It's a cycle. He beat the Raiders last week. Bad team. Now plays the Packers. Loses. It's the same old Baker. He's not good. Live with it. Deal with it.
Boring game.
Packers have a very, very outside chance to make the playoffs. Ain't gonna.
Tom Grassley has ran every single cycle, every single simulation that there is to run. Maybe they'll make it. They're not making it.
For sure. And then this is the Thursday night game this week. Jacksonville at Jets. Big game for playoff implications in the AFC.
Huge.
I got Jacksonville. I think they're rolling right now. I've already said Trevor Lawrence, I'm high on him now. He's not a bust. I was wrong. Give me the Jaguars, all of that.
Here's the thing. I can see on paper either of these teams winning this game, but I got a feeling.
Oh, no.
And my feeling's telling me Jacksonville.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I do think Jacksonville's going to take this game.
Yeah, so we agree.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Jets, and I was like, oh, I can't go with...
Jets.
Huh?
I have the Jets.
Debbie's got the Jets.
Debbie's going Jets.
I think we'll see.
We'll see whose feeling's better.
I got that feeling.
I have a
Ooh.
71.
That tonight's going to be a good night. That tonight's going to be a good night.
But yeah, do we have our stats?
Yeah.
So I think I got one more correct game than you did this week,
Yes,
which is
you did.
the opposite of what you need to be happening, but it's okay.
But I'm waiting for the referee to tell you that you're lined up correctly when you're clearly a yard off the line.
Shoot, you're right. You're right.
I'm waiting for the PI in the end zone that they're not going to call.
Shoot.
I'm waiting for the touchdown where my foot is clearly out of bounds, but they're going to call it for me anyway.
You're waiting for me to pitch it back to Chandler Jones.
I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen. It has to happen.
For sure. But yeah, I'm at 132. He's at 117. I mean, technically, it's only a 15-game difference.
Yeah, it is. And
Anything can
there's a
happen.
lot of weeks of football left.
Playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, as we can see, anything can happen. We saw the games this week.
Yeah, so true. If you've stuck around this long,
Oh, you have been waiting.
I've been waiting. If
Dude.
you've stuck around this long, then congratulations. You get the Austin treatment.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
Today, we will be talking about the World Cup final between Argentina and France. Let me tell you, this was a game for the ages. Lionel Messi has completed football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. He's completed it all. He's done everything. He is officially the GOAT. I don't care, Cristiano Ronaldo lovers, Messi haters, wherever you are out there. I don't care. Messi is the GOAT, undisputed. That's it. He's the greatest of all time. There's nothing you can say to change my mind now. He's won everything there is to win. Eat it. Argentina World Cup champions. It was a great game. You should probably go watch the highlights. Or watch the full game, actually. It was only like 140 minutes long.
I actually did watch some of it. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of cool. We went to, We went to some Mexican restaurant to eat. No. We went to some Mexican restaurant with some friends to eat after church, and they had the game on in the restaurant. Literally, all of the employees and the servers and everything were all like around all the TVs, like watching. And then when it was 2-2, and then Messi scored to make it 3-2, and everyone just goes, "Go!" It was actually kind of cool. Everyone was like, "Oh!" And then me and Brady left to go home because we wanted to see the start of the NFL games. And then Brady, we were listening to it on the way home. And then Mbappe, how you say his name?
Yeah.
He scored. And then we're like, oh my. It went to PKs. And so we turned on the PKs and we were like watching. And then when they won, it was actually kind of cool. But yeah. The craziness of the NFL this week, I don't think us speaking about it, what's the word? Yeah. I don't think it gave, thank you, Debbie. I don't think our speaking gave justice to the craziness of this week.
Yeah.
We are on a time crunch. Yeah, we went a long time this episode. This was probably one of our longer episodes we've had. But it was just so crazy. I mean, it was great.
Yeah. I think next week, we're going to have...
Oh, next week's going to be depressing because it's not going to be anywhere compared to
It's
this
not going to be
week.
anywhere near this, but I'm excited because next week, I want...
Yeah, all the games are on Saturday this week.
They're on Saturday this week.
Christmas Eve. Yeah, no, it's literally the Sunday, except on Saturday. It's what it is.
Yeah.
There's like 4 games.
There's 3, yeah.
Yeah.
The terrible Christmas games.
Yeah. I'm going to do some looking into for this next episode. I really want to take a look at the playoff picture for each conference, take a look at what the schedules look like, what each team's chances are.
I like that.
I want to go into it because we only have 3 weeks left of the regular season.
I like that a
I
lot.
want to take a good look into it.
I mentioned it in the chat, but if you're just joining us now, and for the future listeners, we are going to do a special episode where we go over all the playoffs, where we kind of think teams are going to rank, who we think is going to win the Super Bowl, just to kind of reanalyze. Like the beginning of the year, we did that
For sure.
basically,
Yeah.
and you don't know what's going to happen going into it. Now that we have a lot of bigger picture, it'll be really interesting to see, what our hosts pick
And how our picks stacked up at the beginning of the year.
Oh, hey, Niners to the Super Bowl is looking kind of good.
Hey, looking like a good pick.
But yeah, thanks for listening to this episode of the K&A Football Podcast. We'll see you this weekend. Have a good Christmas break.
Thanks for watching this episode of K&A Football. You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we're also active on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you. You're a real one. We'll see you next time.